Somewhere in the rolling hills of Tuscany, Italy, there's a 1,000-year-old castle for sale. Stone walls that survived wars, frescoed ceilings that have never seen a camera crew, a private vineyard that produces wine drunk by Italian nobility for centuries. And in 2026, a 25-year-old kid from Arezzo is selling it. Not through a fancy brokerage on Fifth Avenue, not through a billionaire's private network, through YouTube. His name is Danilo Romolini. And what he built, quietly, from a small medieval village in Tuscany, is one of the most fascinating stories in the luxury real estate world right now. Because here's the part that stops people cold. He once sold a multi-million-euro castle to a buyer who had never set foot inside it, never toured it, never even visited Italy. They watched a YouTube video and wired the money. How does something like that actually happen? And what does it tell us about where luxury real estate is heading in 2026? Stay with me, because this story goes much deeper than one guy with a camera. To understand Danilo, you have to understand where he came from. In 2004, his parents, Riccardo and Marta Romolini, founded a small real estate agency in Anghiati, a medieval village in Tuscany, so beautiful it looks like it was painted by hand. They specialized in one very specific thing: historic Italian properties, castles, villas, farmhouses. Buildings that weren't just homes, they were pieces of Italian history. Riccardo had studied agricultural sciences. Marta had a degree in philosophy. Neither of them had a traditional real estate background, but they had something more powerful: a deep, genuine love for the land they grew up on, and the ability to make other people feel that love too. Within 4 years, they were invited to become the exclusive Italian affiliate of Christie's International Real Estate. Christie's, the same name behind the most prestigious art auctions in the world. That kind of invitation doesn't come through advertising. It comes through results. Danilo was 4 years old when his parents started the company. He literally grew up inside it, walking through 14th century farmhouses before he could read, listening to negotiations in 3 languages at the dinner table. By the time he was a teenager, real estate wasn't just his family's business, it was his entire world. But here's what's interesting. Danilo didn't want to do it the same way his parents did. When Danilo was around 16, he started watching property tour videos from New York and Los Angeles. The glamour, the lifestyle, the way a great video could make you feel like you were already living inside a $10 million penthouse. And then he had a thought that most people wouldn't have. He thought, if Beverly Hills looks incredible on camera, what would a 1,000-year-old Tuscan castle look like? In May 2020, right in the middle of the COVID pandemic, when the entire world was locked inside, Danilo picked up his phone. No professional camera, no crew, no script. Just him, walking through extraordinary Italian properties, talking to the camera like he was showing a friend around his house. The early videos were rough. He admits he was shy. His editing was basic. But within the first 10 videos, something unexpected happened. Some of them reached 500,000 views. 500,000 people sitting in their apartments in New York, London, Sydney, Dubai, watching a young Italian guy walk through a medieval farmhouse in Tuscany. Not because they were looking to buy, but because something about it felt different. It wasn't a sales pitch. It wasn't a highlight reel. It felt honest. It felt human. And that made people trust him. Within a year of starting his YouTube channel, Danilo sold a castle, a multi-million-euro castle, to a buyer who had never visited the property in person. They found the listing through his video, reached out, and closed the deal remotely. Think about what that means for a second. The most expensive purchase most people will ever consider in their lifetime, and this buyer made it based on a YouTube video. That's not luck, that's trust built through storytelling. What Danilo figured out almost by accident, the top luxury agents in the world are now scrambling to replicate intentionally. Here's the shift that's happening right now in 2026. The ultra-wealthy buyer has changed. They're no longer just flying into a city, meeting a broker, and touring 3 properties in an afternoon. Increasingly, they're doing their research online, months before they ever contact an agent. They're watching tours, reading about neighborhoods, following agents on Instagram and YouTube. By the time they reach out, they've already decided they trust you. The sale is almost already made. Romolini's YouTube channel has grown to over 126,000 subscribers. Their videos regularly attract buyers from the United States, the UK, Northern Europe, and the Middle East. people who would never have discovered a small agency in a Tuscan village through traditional methods. And the properties they sell? We're not talking starter homes. We're talking restored medieval castles, centuries-old wine estates, cliff-top villas on the Amalfi Coast. The kind of properties that don't just sell for millions, they sell for legacies. What Danilo built isn't just a marketing strategy. It's a completely new model for how luxury real estate works in the digital age. And in 2026, it's becoming the blueprint that every serious agent is trying to follow.
So what's the real lesson here? Because this isn't just a feel-good story about a kid from Tuscany who got lucky on YouTube. Danilo Romolini cracked something that most people in business, any business, spend their entire careers trying to figure out. He understood that in the luxury market, the product almost doesn't matter. What matters is the feeling, the dream, the story wrapped around the product. When you watch one of his property tours, you don't just see stone walls and terracotta floors. You see a life. A morning with espresso on a 500-year-old terrace. An evening where the only sound is wind moving through a vineyard that your family now owns. He's not selling square footage. He's selling an identity. And that's the shift that's happening across the entire luxury world in 2026. The brands, the agents, the channels that are winning, they're not the ones with the biggest budgets or the most polished productions. They're the ones who make you feel something real. A phone camera in 2020. A shy 20-year-old who just wanted to show people something beautiful. A family business in a medieval village that most of the world had never heard of. And from that, a castle sold to someone who never left their living room. If that doesn't make you think differently about what's actually possible in 2026, I don't know what will. If this video gave you something, hit that like button. Subscribe if you want more stories like this one. Every week, we go inside the real world of luxury, the strategies, the people, and the moments that most channels never bother to find. See you in the next one.